Welcome heroes, I'm Ebony. In this Art Heroes video, we're going to learn how to draw a blue-tongue lizard using 3 colours and simple shapes. By keeping it simple, we can draw anything. You only need 3 pencils. We can use yellow, pink and blue, a few sheets of paper, a sharpener, and it's also a good idea to have a bin or container for your pencil shavings. Pause this video now and get your art tools ready. Got your pencils, paper and sharpener? Awesome. It's important to care for our art tools and get them ready before we start drawing. Just like Ashoka Tano has her lightsaber, our art tools are how we channel our superpowers. Because when you think about it, making art is the power of creation and illusion. So make sure your pencils are nice and sharp and keep them that way throughout the drawing process. While we sharpen our pencils, let's take some deep breaths to get us focused to draw. We're going to breathe in for 3 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, and then breathe out for 3 seconds. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, hold, out, 1, 2, 3. And again, in, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, out, 1, 2, 3. And one last time, in, 1, 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, out, 1, 2, 3. Are your pencils nice and sharp now? Fantastic. If you are not ready to draw yet, you can just watch me this time and then re-watch this video when you are ready to draw. As our hero Bob Ross said, anything we are willing to practice, we can do. Let's begin. I'm going to start by using a crayon and break down this picture into simple shapes. You don't need to print the reference out, we'll keep it on the screen for you throughout the drawing. To help me understand how to fit the animal on the page, I like to think of the picture as having a top, a middle and a bottom. For our lessons, we will always start at the top of the picture and work our way down. For the head of the lizard, I think it looks like a triangle. For the tongue, a bit of an oval, and then it's got another little circle on the end. The neck looks like a square to me. Square. The arms look like 2 curved sausages. It's got quite a bend in it. 2 curved sausages. There's lots of little sausages for the little claws. We're gonna go down the back. Its body's a bit of a bean shape, and its tail is another oval. A bit of a point to that tail. This back leg, another sausage I think, and more little ones for those claws. Great, we've broken down the lizard into simple shapes. Let's give it a try with our pencils. It's your turn to draw now. Let's start with our lightest colour. I'm using yellow in this case. Start by drawing a little line about 1/3 down your page and then another line about 1/3 up from the bottom, just so we can keep our top, middle and bottom. Now we're going to mark some little dot to dots so we can make sure the animal fits on our page. So let's put a dot at the tip of the nose, a dot at the tip of the tail, where we think the front paws might go, and where we think the back paw might go. Remember, if the next part goes too quickly, you can pause and take as much time as you need putting in your shapes. Take your time. This is just practice, and practice makes progress. When you draw, you want to use your whole arm so you can move freely around the paper. So keep your wrist floating, holding your pencil not too close to the tip, just near the end, so you can draw lightly and softly and move simply. Use your whole arm, keep your wrist floating. Draw lightly, you can always add more colour. Let's start with our triangle for the head. It's a bit of a round triangle. Nothing has to be perfect. In this entire drawing, nothing has to be perfect. This is just practice, and our mistakes are actually treasures because they allow us to see what we need to do better. Okay, we've got that square underneath for the neck. can have this sausage for the leg and the other sausage for the other leg. Let's put in a few sausages for claws. How many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now let's put that bean shape for the body in there. Bean shape for the body. The oval for the tail. A bit of a point to it. An oval for the tail. And another sausage for the leg. And a few more sausagey beanie paws. Okay, now last thing, let's put in that cool tongue that gives it its name, the blue tongue. It's got a little bit of a... Right. Fantastic, we've got the basics down for our blue tongue lizard. This is almost like a skeleton. Time for you to put your pencil down to relax. Take some more deep breaths and watch while I show you the next step. Taking my pink, I'm going to focus on the outlines of the lizard. Starting at the head, I'm going to outline the nose and put in the mouth now. Maybe put in the back of the mouth as well. And where it goes there. And over there, that's the side of the head. That's the other side of the head. Put in a little ripples for these scales we can see, and maybe a little circle for the eye, and a little dot for the nose. Let's go and do that tongue. It has a little split at the end, at that tiniest tip point. And go the rest of the head, down the body, down this arm, the other one, and its little claws, down its scaly back, which we can put in a few little bumps along the way, regular bumps all the way down to indicate those scales, those beautiful scales, kind of like dragon scales. And we can do the same for the other side. And the leg, and its little paws, little claws, and the tail. And you might want to put in a couple of these, just a few of these little prominent triangles, just so we can give the illusion of scale. So let's plan to put those in by drawing them in now. It's got a beautiful pattern on this lizard. I love its scales. They're so pretty. Like I said, like dragon scales. Did you know blue tongue lizards don't lay eggs? Unlike other reptiles like snakes, turtles or crocodiles, blue tongue lizards don't lay eggs. They give birth a lot like mammals, which is pretty rare for lizards. Watch out for baby blue tongue lizards between December to January each year. Now it's your turn. Let's get our pink pencil. And let's start at the head and follow what we've got. Okay, so we've got that curved nose, little bumps along the head, down to the triangle, and we've got the bottom of the mouth, got that cool blue tongue poking out with its little split at the end. And let's go all the way in there. Let's put in the inside of the mouth. Goes like that. Comes down here. The nose goes out there, and then the other side of the head pokes out on the other side. Let's put in that throat. Okay, let's put its spot in for the eye. We can do the front of the lizard and its sausage-like arms. We can put in its little claws now. Maybe get the little sharp bits. for scratching and digging. Underneath the chin and the chest, and his front legs, and more little claws in there. We can go down the top of the body and kind of do little bumps all the way down, nice and evenly. Go down to the tail. What a cute tail. The tail kind of looks like the head, so that when a predator comes at it, it might think that the tail is the head, so it will go, maybe not, I think I can be seen. Okay, so we've got this back leg, and if we make it a little fatter at the knee, it makes it look like it's bending a little bit more. Okay, we'll put them toes in, these little claws, and the back of the tail. The belly, can't forget the belly, and more of those little scaly bumps along the way. Okay, now let's put in a couple of those scales we drew. Just little triangles, just little indications that it's got scales all down its body. Just a few indications. He's got some scales. Maybe it's a she. They have lots of scales, so let's put some little marks in to make that clear for us. Here too. There. You can pause here or at any time if you want extra time to add your own details before we move on to the final step. You just did a lot of tricky drawing, so take a moment to chill while you watch me teach this next part. Try putting your hands on your belly while you breathe. Taking my blue crayon, I'm going to look for the shadows and fun extra details I want to add. I'm going to give the drawing some shading. There's a lot of shadow on this lizard. Let's put some shadow on that beautiful blue tongue. In fact, when we get on the other picture, I'm going to put a lot of blue on that blue tongue because it's a blue tongue lizard. Right, maybe a little bit of the mouth, we can define that. The back of the mouth, let's make that all nice and dark. Put a little bit of shading inside it. Let's carve out the shine on the eye and leave that so that its eyes are shiny. It gives it a bit more like it's got life in your picture. Right, some more of the scales underneath the neck. Define those claws a bit more. If we put the shadow on the bottom of our picture, it gives more weight. It makes it feel like the creature is really there a bit more. If the darker colours are at the bottom of the creature. So we've got a lot of shadow along there. Maybe a few more of these scales. We'll put in a bit more of them. Places I can see some dark scales. And just the bottom half of this leg, because that'll make it look like it's underneath, like there's a shadow under here and the light's on the top, and maybe just a little bit of blue on that side, and then we'll shadow the back of the tail and add a few more details again. Don't forget those claws. Grab your blue pencil. You can try turning your pencil on the side to get more of a shading effect, like so. You can turn your pencil on the side to get that kind of shading effect. Remember to keep your pressure light. You can always add more. That's good. I like to imagine that I am petting a butterfly's wing with the tip of my pencil. Just that's how light my pressure is. Let's go in and add that shadows. Those shadows we saw. And maybe make it a little bumpy again underneath this chin to to really give that feel of scales and shine for the eye, and then colour in dark all around it. There we go. Gives it a bit of life. Let's colour inside the mouth with the tip of the pencil so it's a bit darker. There we go. Let's give a bit more definition to this part of the mouth, a little bit of shadow in there, helps it stand out. And now this beautiful blue tongue. I love their tongues, they're so cool. Okay, so let's start by making it nice and dark at the very bottom of the tongue. And then, like I said, with your pencil on its side, we can just gently pull it up. Starting from the bottom, just gently go up. Just gently go up. Here we go. Oh, very nice. That's got that nice feel of that blue tongue. A bit more definition on the back of it. Underneath it. That split, that cool split it's got. Okay, so now. And let's put a bit of shadow back on the back of this head so we can tell it's in the background. And we can go over the pink and the yellow with the blue to define the lines a bit more, make it a bit more dark. But be really sparing at the top of the picture, like keep most of your blue to the underside because it's shade. It's shadow. Shadows fall on the underside of things where the light doesn't reach. So, some more details on these claws. Shadow under them. Detail. Get that all in there. We'll do the back of this leg over here. And if we shade it just right, we can once again make it look like the shine is in the top of the arms. Just on the top of them. You'll learn over time where exactly to put your shadow to create the best illusion for your pictures. Just takes lots of practice, but practice is the whole game. If you can get in the habit of practicing every day your drawing, you will be a master in no time. Let's get the dark belly lines in there, emphasize those bumpy scales. Bumpy scales. So give them some emphasis. That means really bringing them out into the fore. Okay, let's shade a bit more. Give it a bit more shading here. On the side of the belly. And like I said, let's make this part, the bottom half of this leg, much darker than the top half. And if we give it a bit of a curve at the top, it really does look like that's a bent leg now. Give a little bit to the back. And these legs to these fingers. What really fingers are they? They're toes. To these toes. Tension and definition. Back of that tail. This lizard is coming along great. Alright, now let's put in a few more of those scales that we drew the marks for. Okay, just some little indications, just some little texture. That's good, I think. If you want to, you can go over some of the other outlines with blue, so like the back of the tail if you want to go over that outline, or almost any of the outlines you could go over with blue just to give them some real solidity and definition. It's fine if you go over the yellow, it's fine if you go over the pink. This entire point of this art technique is to draw in layers where you go on top of each other. If you're happy with this picture, you can just leave it there. If you want to keep experimenting, you can always go back and grab your pink or your yellow and add a little bit more colour using the yellow for the highlight, so we can pick where are the brightest points on this lizard. Where would that be? The top of it really, where the light would be hitting it the most. So we can put in maybe a couple of little scribbles as indication of shine on those scales. Just a little pencil on our side. We can just go in there, just put in a few marks, just equal distance away from each other. Really feel like those scales are shiny. I find that if you put just a little scribble of light on your brightest bits, it really makes them pop. So maybe give it a bit at the top of this mouth, a little bit at the top of that tongue, and it's pretty bright here as well. Now we can grab our pink and add a few more mid-tones, like the inside of that mouth I think should be pretty pink. Make it darker on the edge. And I think maybe a little bit more shadow in this mouth would be good. A little bit more shadow. A little bit more detail, a little texture. And then a few more mid-tones. I don't really like to leave white on my pictures, except for in the eye, because it really makes the eye pop if it's the only purely white bit on the picture. So I like to go over anywhere that hasn't been highlit and anywhere that hasn't been shadowed with a bit of extra mid-tone, just so that solid, so it can, pop out from the page a bit. And there we go. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm loving this lizard. I think it looks very cute and distinguished. You have just completed a study of a blue-tongued lizard. Give yourself a high five or a pat on the back or whatever you're comfortable with. It's important to celebrate when we try. You may come to the end of this lesson thinking that your animal doesn't quite look like the same as mine, but that's a good thing. It would be boring if all of our art looked the same. Every time you draw something, you get better at drawing that thing. Drawing can be tricky. It's brave to try. And I only get better by practicing every day and by studying other artists. When we draw something with the intention of getting better, that is called a study. And remember, it is always okay to draw from a reference. To learn how to draw something, it's important to copy. Even trace that thing so we can train our hands how to recreate that image ourselves. I had a lot of fun with you today, and I would love to see how your art turned out. You can share your art with us at the end of our feedback form. The link to the feedback form is in the description of this video. If you're a younger student, you might want to ask a parent or a caregiver to help you with this. Thank you so much for making art with me today. I'm so excited to make art with you again. See you next lesson, heroes. Art Heroes would like to acknowledge that this video was filmed on land that was stolen from the Pambalong clan of the Awabakal people and pay our respects to their elders, past, present